Hey everyone, this is Casey Fox with Techletics. I want to preface this video with my reasoning for making it. AI is advancing so rapidly and it can be very difficult to keep pace. I keep saying the genie is out of the bottle, and anybody that starts working with it will really have the ability to decide whether to use it for good things or for bad things. I did an interview a year or so ago and we started talking about the future of AI. And I talked about a lot of cool stuff that I see coming, but I also talked about some things that worry me a little bit. One thing in particular was ransomware. And that's really because ransomware already worries me now. I'm not advocating that everybody goes out there and builds ransomware to understand how it works, but I do think it's important that people have at least a cursory understanding. When I was a kid, there was a guy on the radio named Earl Pitts. I can't tell you how happy it makes me that I have the opportunity to reference him in a video about AI 30 years later. But Earl Pitts would always sign off his show with a final thought on a topic. And one day he was talking about them banning hamburgers because they were unhealthy. He said, and remember, if they outlaw hamburgers, only outlaws can eat them. I think that's applicable here. Do we really want hackers shaping the way AI can be applied to ransomware? Or is it valuable that we understand what risks are out there and figure out ways that we can better protect ourselves? I'll leave that for you to decide, but I appreciate you watching. So this is a golf game that I built, actually ChatGPT'd it, and it's a simple golf game. Couple hundred lines of code. You pop it open here like this, and you pull your mouse back and you can play golf. Right, so I've got on the terminal back here, you can see some output, and we're going to use that as we kind of go along with this thing. But simple golf game. All right, so here's where the magic happens. Right, if you come in here, you'll see I put this as the dirty part. Right, the key is we're going to run a sub process. And that sub-process is commented out just so I can show you the game running by itself. But it's actually going to run asynchronously. So it's going to kick off, and then it's going to let the golf game keep happening. But we're going to start doing that recon just the way that ransomware does it, right, on the back end of this thing. So you see this Advanced Recon 3. We go into this, and here's the code. So it's going to crawl through all these desktop files. So I made it just like a real desktop, but I isolated it, right? So here's my desktop. Here's some data CSVs and some text files, and here's some documents that I've got in here, and here's some downloaded files, a passport and a PDF file, you name it. And I've got code in here that's going to handle the different files differently. It's going to open up images to see what's inside of them and get an understanding. It's going to open up documents and everything else, right? So pretty simple. This exists out there today. So now the next part is we're going to kick off this analyze directory data, right? So basically when this thing runs, it's going to create a file, and then we're going to analyze the contents. So this is where this is actually going to work like ransomware, where we're going to try to encrypt things if we classify them and we look at them and say, yeah, you know what, this is something that's got a monetary value to it, and it looks like it could be sensitive data. We're going to do a ChatGPT prompt, kind of ChatGPT. It's actually using OLlama locally on the back end, but it's the same way that ransomware would send something out to see if something has value. So well, we're gonna kick this off, and we're gonna see it run in real time. So let's run it again. Let's uncomment this. And here's our code. So here's our golf game running. Oh, but look, now we're crawling on the back end. So the software, the ransomware, is actually crawling through the files on the back end of the system to decide if it wants to do anything with them. And it'll go through and make its determinations. Meanwhile, just like regular ransomware, you're sitting there running, doing your thing as normal. Nothing looks out of place, and you're just working as normal, right? You don't have this thing on the background that's telling you that there's something malicious happening on your system. We're just letting this thing crawl and letting it understand what's going on in the back end. But now it's complete. And now the AI is going to start analyzing it. So it created that output JSON file that actually had the information about it. and it's going to start analyzing that data, right? And there it goes. So that's with each file it's analyzing. The AI, the Gen AI on the back end, is deciding what it wants to do about that. And then you can see it actually encrypting the files that it thinks are worth encrypting. And I'm not deleting the original as ransomware would. Ransomware would actually delete the original file and then just leave an encrypted file on the back end. I'm not doing that. So it finished, right? And you can see, I gotta look for it here. I'm looking for the directory JSON file. There it is. So, okay, here's a directory JSON file. You can see this one's got, it's a CSV, it's got a social security number in it. Probably something that, right, obviously we don't want to mess with that. Let's look at what the AI saw with this file. So here's where the AI did it. Okay, and there it is. Yeah, okay. Contains social security number, which is a highly sensitive piece of information. It assigned a monetary value. Obviously, 500,000 is probably not the value of the social security number, but it did see something, right? Here's the next one that we're going to look at. Here's a picture. It is a family photo, right? So, hey, again, right, probably not important as far as cybersecurity, really, but I told it to basically show anything that would have value to a person, an individual. Maybe a family photo does have something. Maybe somebody's willing to pay to get a family photo back. Maybe it's the only copy of this thing that's sitting out there, and I've encrypted it and locked it up, and they'd be willing to pay a ransom for it, right? So that's the way that one works. And it just does this. It crawls through and it looks at these things one at a time, the way regular old ransomware would do it. All I've done is I've put an AI twist on it, right? Now here, it looks like it may have had a mistake on that. And this is, hey, this was done in about an hour, guys, right? So this is, there's a lot more to do on this, and you can make this super powerful. Now this is funny. So I just put in the text that it's valuable information about plants. And AI looked at that and said, hey, as I said, it's valuable information about plants. We should probably do something about that. Somebody probably be willing to pay for this. And we lock it up, right? So they can't do it. Then you can see it went through, and the last one that it did, it was actually a passport. It was a passport that I found online, just an example passport, but you can see, right? File contains personal identifiable information, could be used for fraudulent purposes, which is absolutely true. We're going to lock it up. We're going to make them pay. And it's the way it works, guys.